welcome to Asianet Dialogues. I'm Pratima Bhatt. It's time to take back POK. This is the dialogue we are hearing these days. But is it really possible? That's the question. Let's find out the answer. We have the guest today. We have Indian Air Force retired Air Vice Marshal B.K. Murali. Sir, welcome to the show.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Pratima. It's good to be on the show.
Yes, the Pakistan-occupied Kashmir, sir, has always been a contentious issue. We have seen that. But now, Defense Minister talks of taking back POK, and then Lieutenant General Upendra Dwivedi, he's also talked about it, execute the orders like taking back Pakistan-occupied Kashmir if at all government asks for it. But the question here is it really possible?
Pratima, at the outset, I must make it very clear that whatever I am saying, it is not anti-establishment, and definitely my intention is not to criticize the government.
Okay.
And nor am I criticizing, the defense minister of the country. But, we need to understand the background of this problem before we analyze really the statement made by our Raksha Mantri ji on the 3rd of November in a rally in Himachal Pradesh. For those who are not aware, Pakistan occupied Kashmir, which is to the north of, is a part of the Azad Hindu Kashmir, is called as the Azad Hindu Kashmir, was a part of the Kashmir Valley many years ago, and in 1948 we lost it. The total area of that Azad Hindu Kashmir, in fact, that Hindu word disappeared, it becomes Azad Kashmir, is 13,297 square kilometers, and the capital is in Muzaffarabad. Now, the unfortunate part is, out of these 30,297, 5,100 square kilometers to the eastern side, near the Karakoram tract, is known as a Trans-Karakoram tract, or the beginning of the Aksai Chin area or the Xinjiang area, has been gifted by Pakistan to China in 1963 in a border agreement. So today in POK, we call this Saksham Valley, which is gifted to China, as area illegally acceded to China. Now, for those who are trying to understand, Pakistan occupied Kashmir encompasses all these areas. Now, when we say we will take back Pak occupied Kashmir, what do we take back? Do we take back the area minus Saksham Valley, or do we take back area with Saksham Valley, or do we also take back the area where the China-Pakistan economic corridor runs through? Okay, once again, a little bit of a background.
Yeah.
See, in 1963, there was an agreement between Pakistan and China. It is known as a Trans-Karakoram Tract Agreement of 1963, which is the border agreement, wherein Pakistan gifted the Saksham Valley to China.
Yeah.
Now, actually very close to the Saksham Valley starts the Karakoram Highway, which is 1,700 kilometers metal road class 2, which connects the Aksai Chin straight to Islamabad, and now it is connected to the Gwadar port also. Now, the complete Chinese trade is through the Karakoram tract. Now, when we say we will take back Pakistan occupied Kashmir, what do we take back?
Yeah, and the
Now,
question here is, Murali sir, if we take back POK, if at all we step ahead, then we may have to face both China and Pakistan, as you are explaining the condition. Are we strong enough?
Pratima, as per the information that we have of 2021, China has about 11,000 PLA positioned in POK. PLA is People's Liberation Army, that is the army of China. So when we enter POK, we will face not only Pakistan army, we will also face Chinese army. Now, it goes without reason to say that if we are going to fight a war, heaven forbid, but in case we land up in a situation where we start fighting a war, there are two adversaries in front of us, China and Pakistan. Are we strong enough to take on both these countries? The answer is no. In fact, our defense establishment has been saying this for many, many years. When the same comment was made by late General Rawat, our very first CDS, some politicians made fun of him. He said, "What is this? You don't know anything." But actually, he had made a comment that today we are facing a two and a half enemy, two enemies, that is the north and east side, and one enemy within, half an enemy within. So two and a half. Now, do we have enough infrastructure? Do we have enough soldiers, aircraft, armament, then stores? The answer is no. Now, I'll give you a very simple example. The defense, budget for Pakistan is 3.5% of their GDP. In China, it is 5% of their GDP. In India, it is 1.8. It has never gone beyond 1.8. Now, if you do not spend money, if you do not acquire the weaponry that is required by our soldiers and air warriors, what war will you fight? Now, once again, I must hasten to add, I am not making any anti-establishment comments.
Okay.
No, I support Atmanirbhar Bharat as much as anybody else. But Atmanirbhar Bharat, if that concept of, Atmanirbhar or creation of infrastructure within, if it fructifies 10 years later, what kind of a war are you going to fight tomorrow? So, the moral of the story is, if there is something that is required by our defense services urgently, which is included in the Defense Acquisition Council list, it must be procured and given. Only then we are strong enough to face the enemy. Today, numerically, we are weak. You see, today we can always find comfort by saying that, no, so what if we don't have so many aircraft? So what if we don't have so many weapons? We have got the skill, we have got the strength, we are very tactful, we are, entire nation is behind us. It is very easy, very nice to hear all this. But when a soldier goes to fight a war, we need to give him the equipment to fight a war, not some, this kind of a philosophical, gyan.
But it's been 75 years since independence, sir. But why we couldn't take back a POK till now? These are the challenges we are facing till now. Where is the hurdle?
Now, the hurdle is because of, various political maneuvering. In 1948 itself, we should have taken POK. In fact, this suggestion was given to then the Prime Minister, then the Defense Minister. They turned a blind eye to it. In fact, when the Razaks came from the north and they attacked our Kashmir, and actually some area, we actually drove them out of Kashmir, but we were not able to drive them beyond Muzaffarabad. In fact, at that time, if we had shown some guts, and if we had shown some, military thinking, we could have taken back POK, we could have even taken Gilgit-Baltistan, whose citizens are of Marathi origin. So we could have taken back all these areas which actually belong to us. Now, not only we did not take back POK, we handed over Aksai Chin on a silver platter to China in 62.
Yes.
You see, this is all self-created problems for us. By 1963, it was too late. Aksai Chin was gone. Then China entered POK, and the POK was strengthened by Pakistan. So it was too late now to wage a war.
If at all government decides to take back a POK, is it possible for some parts, or how long it might take for the Indian force?
That is anybody's guess. This is not a war which definitely a soldier of the Indian Defense Services would like to fight. The reason is very clear and very obvious. Today, when you face two enemies, in that area, actually, the chances that you will really win the war or win a limited conflict is very, very low. And secondly, we also know that numerically we are not superior. Now, I would like to narrate a small incident for the benefit of the viewers.
Yeah.
In 1971 March, uh, then Prime Minister Indira Gandhi calls Field Marshal Manekshaw, who was the chief of the army staff, and tells him, please prepare for a war to liberate Bangladesh, because we have already landed up with the 10 million refugees from Bangladesh, from eastern Pakistan, sorry. Then General Manekshaw tells Indira Gandhi, sorry madam, we are not ready for a war. No chief will ever say this. But then Field Marshal Manekshaw had the guts to tell the Prime Minister of the country, sorry, we will not fight a war. He also said, we need to prepare. At the time of our choosing, we will fight a war. And that is exactly what they did. They prepared for war, and they trained Mukti Bahini, which became Maitri Bahini. And in the 1st of December, they invaded and they liberated Bangladesh. Yes, we must also admit, Pratima, at this point in time, then when Indira Gandhi asked Russia, Alexei Kozygin was those days the premier of Russia. He immediately sent a lot of military equipment to India. At this point in time, if now India says we are going to wage a war against POK, please help us. Tell me how many countries will come forward?
Exactly.
Not a single country will come forward. So we must understand the actually geopolitical situation, that it is not in our favor today. So where does that leave us? We need to prepare. If at all there is a confrontation tomorrow for taking over the POK, let us say, this is argument's sake, we need to prepare. We need to get all our equipment. We need to prepare, and we need to be ready if at all we have to face wage a war against two adversaries.
But we are in again 75th year of independence India. We have to remember that. But still we are struggling, sir. Still we are struggling to combat the terror activities in our part of Kashmir, Indian Kashmir. And in this case, if we all succeed in taking back a POK, then will not be a matter of threat to the safety of India?
Now, whether we really succeed in taking back POK or do not succeed, the threat is still there.
Yeah.
In fact, it is not threat. When I say threat is still there, threat has now become 10 times more. Whatever cross-border terrorism that a terrorist of, Hizbul or, Jaish-e-Mohammed and others infiltrating and coming inside our, Abohar, Fazilka, Amritsar and Pir Panjal rail through a tunnel has happened in the past. But now there is a altogether different threat to us. One more point I want to make here is, when the Taliban took over Afghanistan, the very first thing they did was to release 4,500 prisoners from the jails of Kabul. Those people belong to Al-Qaeda, Tehrik-e-Taliban, ISIS, and those supporting the terrorist activities against India in Indian soil. So although terrorists found a safe haven in POK. Today they are all in POK. From POK, they give a call. They say, Ghazwa-e-Hind. They say, in another some 10, 15 years, we will turn India into a Muslim nation. So this is the kind of a situation that is brewing in that area. Now, they have stopped the cross-border. We managed to somehow stop the cross-border terrorism and terrorists coming inside our country. But then we know for a fact that today in our own country, in Jammu and Kashmir, there are sleeper cells. And Pakistan terrorist organizations backed by Pakistan Rangers and ISI is supplying weaponry to them through drones.
Yes.
You see, today, in the year 2022, from 1st of Jan up to 30th of November, there has been 191 drone incursions in Abohar, Fazilka, Amritsar, and Pir Panjal range in Punjab, in Kashmir. And each drone brings about 5 to 6 kilograms of payload, of assault rifles, M4 carbines, and high explosive grenades, then Indian fake currency, and Afghan-made drugs.
But if India attacks POK to take back POK, then what repercussions would we have to face internationally? Because as we see the consequences in Russia-Ukraine war, sir. So even we may have to face such sanctions?
We may not face the sanctions through the United Nations. Definitely, we won't face the sanctions through the developed nations like United States, France, UK, Germany, and Japan, and probably Canada, because our diplomatic efforts and our relations with these countries are very good.
Yes.
But the most important factor is these very same countries will not support us.
Yes.
That we must be very sure. They will not support our military engagement with our neighbor. That that they have made it clear many times.
Yes.
Because today they are not able to stop the Russian aggression on Ukraine. And secondly, in United Nations, in the Security Council, we have always abstained from voting. We have not supported Ukraine. We have supported Russia. Now, all this is done with a specific reason. We have got an excellent relation with Russia. The entire world knows that we cannot really give up Russia for the sake of Ukraine. But at the same time, we cannot give up Ukraine also. It is a tightrope walk, and some kind of a very calculated decision was taken by our Foreign Affairs Ministry. But the fact of the matter is, in the entire United Nations of 130 nations, some 10-50 nations supported Russia, the rest supported Ukraine. So today, expecting all these countries to come in support of India, if there is a confrontation because of the POK, now is left to anybody's guess.
But you were Air Vice Marshal, sir. So with your experience, what is your suggestions to make our force maybe stronger, or how can we increase our strength against the China maybe, or what are the changes we have to make it? What is your suggestion?
Most important thing for us to realize is our war doctrines, our nation's war doctrines, our defense forces war doctrines do not advocate a war. Yes. We are not the first to strike our forces. We do not wage a war against any country on our own. But if some other adversary, some other country wages a war against us and makes a preemptive strike on us, we have the capability to absorb that strike and retaliate. That we'll do, and that we will do better than them. So we, our capability definitely is there. But right now, majority of the developed nations today, they use their defense services as a deterrent. So we must bring a strong deterrent. We must have a very strong defense services We must give them equipment, we must give them aircraft, whether it is MMRCA or latest weaponry, then latest weapons to the army, and maybe the aircraft carrier task force to the Indian Navy. Similarly, weapons to the CRPF and the paramilitary forces. We must procure and give them, or make in India and give them. We must increase our capability, we must increase our strength and use it as a deterrent.
And finally, sir, final question. What is your message to the government and the force?
Yeah, in fact, as far as the defense services are concerned, I'm a part of them. I know they are 24/7 into 365. They do that. They train themselves to keep them ready for the eventual day. But then the government must support them. We all actually we are in favor of Atmanirbhar Bharat. But remember, if Atmanirbhar Bharat is not something that we start today and it materializes 10 years later. That is not of any use to anybody. If Indian Air Force, our Army, our Navy want something today, you must give it to them. We must make an effort, the government must make an effort to understand, and the government must increase the defense expenditure and at least match with our northern neighbor, at least make it 2.5, 3% of the GDP. If we are safe and if our armed defense services can keep us safe, then the development. If we are not safe at all, and if we are open to terrorist attacks and limited conflicts from our neighbors, what is the use of this development? It is of no use to any citizen of this country.
Thank you, sir. Let's hope for safe and secure country, our own India. Thank you for watching.
Thank you very much.